Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. So brave few warriors are here. Yes, who have been able to sustain 8 classes. We are in the 8th week today. And how many of you all have attended all 8 so far? Okay, that says something. All right. I have seen you all quite regularly. Yes, the granddaughter at only the last. Oh, yeah, actually, everybody has been falling sick. Thank you very much for coming. And I know there are a lot of people who watch on YouTube, but definitely it's not the same. Doesn't matter, in whatever circumstances we are in, only we know, even I was not keeping well. So let's begin with, little bit of recap from the previous session, but not by just summarizing the points. I'm going to tell you a story, and let's see how many of you all were present in the last class. All of you, more or less. Yeah. So the story is a story which I think many of you all know. In school, you have heard this. Monkey and the cap seller. Yes. Okay, this story is little with a twist. Okay. So we have 3 brothers, and these 3 brothers, they're all into this cap selling business. Okay. You have to listen to the story attentively, and we also can encourage answers on YouTube if you can interact with them. Okay, so you have to listen to this story, and we'll have a few interesting questions after the story. So these three brothers, they are selling caps, and the oldest one, he begins to he sets out on this journey of selling caps on one day. Now, how he begins is, with a little grudge, and somehow sulkingly he gets up from his bed, not really in a mood to go. But then he's pushed by his parents that you have to earn some money, do something. So after being yelled at continuously, he says, okay, now I will go. And so he goes. And then we all know that as he is walking towards the town to sell the caps, he gets tired, so decides to rest under a tree. And so he sleeps off, dozes off. When he wakes up, what does he see? All the caps have been taken away by monkeys. He looks here, he looks there, and he sees all the monkeys up there on the tree are there with all his caps. What does his eldest brother do? He begins to cry. He's in total despair. He can't believe it. He can't accept it. He starts crying and he says, I'm really no good. I can't do anything properly. And just look at this now. What am I going to do? How am I going to face life? Oh, I think this life is just a mess. Oh, I wish I can just get drunk and forget about everything. Yes, he wants to just get drunk and forget about his troubles. Goes back to the village in total depression. So the next day, it's the time for the second brother to go and sell caps. He starts with it. He says, yes, I'm going to do it. And he gets all dressed up. And he also walks towards the town, gets tired, rests under a tree. When he gets up, what does he see? The monkeys have taken away the caps. And what happens to this brother? He gets so angry. He says, how on earth, how do you dare to touch my cap? Yeah, and he picks up a stone and he starts throwing the stones at the monkeys. And also, there's a stick that he has, he swirls it around. But what happens? The stones and the sticks, all of them, they come and fall on his head. He's even more angry. He says, this can't happen to me. I'll show you who I am. Gets so angry and goes back to the village, back to his village without anything. Now it's the turn for the youngest brother to go to sell caps. And it's the same story. He goes, he gets tired, decides to rest under a tree. And when he wakes up, he sees the monkeys have taken all the caps. Now what does he do? He says, pause. Let's think of something. I know I've heard that monkeys, they imitate. Yes, they imitate. They imitate. So he says, okay, so let me think about it. And he takes his own cap. He was sleeping under that cap, so the monkeys haven't taken that cap. So he wears the cap, sees all the monkeys are wearing caps and having a good time. So this man, he takes his cap and he throws it on the ground. And all the monkeys look at that and they do the same thing. Right? And quickly he says, okay, thank you very much. And he picks up all the hats, goes to the town, sells all the hats, makes a good fortune, returns back to his village. Right? So this was the story that we heard, isn't it? We didn't hear of the other two brothers. Now the questions are open to you. What do you think this story is trying to tell us? Any idea from the previous session that you heard? Anything that you can connect? Yes.
Always look for solutions.
Okay. Always look for solutions. It depends on how well you have understood the previous session. You'll be able to connect that previous session to this story. So are we having something on YouTube? Answers on YouTube also? Think about it. It's a very simple story that I told you, a simple scene that I have given you. And it definitely connects to what you discussed in the previous class. Okay, who remembers what was the topic in the previous session? What was it about? Who am I? Okay.
Am I the control?
Am I the controller? Okay. So what did we do in that? Am I the controller? Are you the controller, Diksha? What do you think? No? Okay. All right. So what about am I the controller and this particular story that I'm telling you? How do they connect? What do you see in am I the controller? What did you realize? Am I the controller? To that question, what is the answer? So there are people who want to answer.
No, they're like anger.
Okay, very good. Okay, yeah, they're coming close. Okay, Lakshmi is saying something. What she's anger. She says anger. Okay, that gives a big clue. What she's saying gives a big clue. Anybody else wants to guess now? Did you hear something about a puppet show?
Yes.
Yes, a very different kind of a puppet show in the last session. Does anybody remember? Nobody remembers. There was a puppet show going on. A very brief, one picture, one slide showed you about how
Maya is
controlling us. Who is controlling us? We are controlled by the three modes of nature. Did you hear this last session? Yes, all the time we are bound by ropes. And what are these ropes? What are these ropes which are making us act like puppets, like these three brothers? The three modes of nature. This is what you spoke about in the last class. Now, why this is important? Because we can't connect one session to the other if we, kind of evaporate all that we heard in the last class. We heard that we are not the controllers. Definitely not. We seem to be controlled by someone. Yes. And mostly we are controlled by what we call as the modes of nature. And these modes of nature, they represent these three brothers. Yeah, the oldest brother, one of the brothers who goes on the first day to sell cabs, he comes back depressed, which is talking about the mode of ignorance, tamaguna, which is called in Bhagavad Gita as the mode of ignorance or tamaguna, which means what? You're somehow or the other, you don't have any motivation in life. You're so depressed all the time. You get easily, you get defeated. You feel you're good for nothing and you rather just sleep. Yes, you become so lazy. You need so much inertia, you need so much push to move even one step. And that's the first brother. But is it of any use? He couldn't sell anything, right? And then the second brother, what do you think now? Who was he? Who was the second? Rajaguna, that's right. Rajaguna. How is Rajaguna? It's in the mode of passion, And this passion is not the passion that we talk about in a very positive way. You should have interest and this kind of a deep eagerness to do things. It's not that. It's about, thank you. Till I get mercy, I think people will not answer. So thank you very much. So yes, that is Rajaguna, which is more or less controlling us in a way that makes us extremely in a very hankering mode, attached, obsessive about something. And when we don't get, obviously what happens? There is anger. And that's what this brother did. So angry he got. Right? But was it of any use? No. Finally, what do you think? The youngest brother? Mode of goodness. Sattva. Is in the mode of goodness. Right? And what happens? What is so typical of the mode of goodness? You pause, you think. Right? So which do you think is helpful? It is helpful. Yes, the brother went and sold all the caps and came back very fruitfully. So that's what it is when we are talking about the modes of nature which are controlling us, like we become puppets. It's better to be controlled at least by the mode of goodness. When we come to the mode of goodness, that's when we begin to think. And that's when we begin to introspect. And that's when we can actually come here. Yes, to the temple. We can actually come and listen to the message from the Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, it's so hard even to push ourselves to come to the temple on a Saturday morning when we would rather sleep, right? When we would rather sleep till noon and maybe then get up and swiggy some food home. Yes, that's the way it works, right? But that's something which is of no use, which is not going to take us far, right? If we want to go far. And today, what we are going to do is talk about then who would you like to, um, you know, how would you like to be controlled? Isn't it better to be under the supreme controller rather than being controlled by the modes of nature like this so helplessly? Yes, and why should we allow ourselves to be controlled by Krishna, who is the supreme controller? That's what we are going to discuss today, right? So let's. I hope this is the eighth session. So a lot of y'all, I hope, are familiar with some of the prayers. It's good to chant these prayers every day so that we come closer and closer to Krishna. And like we've always said, all these sessions are dedicated and are completely because of whatever Srila Prabhupada has given us, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So we begin with chanting his prayers, his pranam mantra. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These prayers, which we will now begin, are called the invocation prayers, which we always recite to invoke blessings of, the teachers, the spiritual teachers who have actually helped us to see things as they are. Right? Just as we just saw, this brother, the youngest brother, could see things as they are. The other two could not see. They were blinded with either so much of ignorance or with so much of passion. Right? So let's pray. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Raghuna Thanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayathyakhila shaktidhara swadhamna anyamscha hastacharana shravanatvagadim pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. So what we are going to do today is, where are we? We are in the 8th session, which is about the Supreme Controller. Right? We have so far seen so many different topics, which is helping us to gear our way of thinking towards the way the Bhagavad Gita is trying to explain us. Yes, the way Bhagavad Gita is trying to orient us. And so like I said, we would like to study today on who is the Supreme Controller Yeah, and why, when we talk about controller, immediately the idea of boss comes to us, which is not so nice. So then we'll talk more about who is the Supreme Lord, and what about so many gods that we have. What do the Shastras say about this, the Bhagavad Gita especially, and why Krishna is very, very attractive and he's not like the other bosses. Yes, and we'll have some practical tips of the day. Right? This is about the concept of boss. Who likes to work under a boss? How many of you all work here? Mostly all of you? How many of you all like your bosses? Oh, so nice. Yes, very few, yes, who like your boss. Why? Because mostly this is what it is, right? You often look at bosses as exploitative, authoritative, and very, very rude. Yeah, mostly they are only interested in the growth of their company, numbers. Yes, and you are just another number there, so they don't quite treat you as somebody, a person. So you find them mostly very, very exploitative. And then you have people saying that no, no, I do not want to work under a boss. I want to be my own boss. Yeah, and so a lot of us begin to dream of having something of our own. Yeah, starting something of our own. So we become entrepreneurs, or we become even small. On a small scale, you feel it's better to be the king in our house rather than be a donkey, in a Microsoft company, right? We don't want to do that. But the idea behind becoming a boss, yes, why do we envy that position? Is simply because we want to control things. It's nice, right? How about me becoming the controller rather than my boss all the time controlling me? We want to become the center. We don't like to be subordinate to anybody for that matter. Yes? Nobody likes this use of word servant. Yeah, I don't want to be anybody's servant. So whenever there is a fight at home, or even a fight in the tiff in the workplace, what's the usual dialogue that you say? I'm not your servant. Yes, I'm not your servant. How can you exploit me like this? Even at home, you don't want that, right? You don't want anybody to treat you as a servant. So here we are today, going to discuss about, that's right, we do not really want to work under somebody who is so exploitative, but at the same time we also have the experience that when there's somebody who takes care of you, yes, who is really interested in your welfare, we naturally become subordinate to them. In the sense, we naturally want to listen to them, or uh, pay heed to their advice. Yes, then we know that this person really wants good for me. Yeah, we have all experienced this. We don't like this, we like this, right? We don't like anybody taking advantage of us, but we like somebody who is empowering us. And that's why when some of you said, I like my boss, which means that boss is a leader, is a very good leader. Yes, that boss is empowering you. That person who is at the top is actually not exploiting you or just putting you down, humiliating you, is not doing that, but is actually helping you grow. And why are we even talking about this? We're talking about this because we want to see this in the light of who is Krishna. Krishna is a supreme boss. It's a very, very beautiful verse that comes in the last words of the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So let's all recite this verse together, or one after the, you can repeat after me. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surudam sarvabhutanam ज्ञात्वा मां शांतिरिच्छति. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. This is a beautiful formula, peace formula that Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad Gita. And how is it? Let's look at the three main important qualities of Krishna. Right? One is what? He is the Bhokta. He benefits from whatever you do. So difficult to accept it. It's not so easy to accept. Yeah, you do all the hard work and he's the one enjoying. He says, accept this. That's Bhoktaram. All your yajna and all your tapasa. Then, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He's the controller or the lord of all planets, everything, of all, how many ever universes are there. We hear so much about multiverses, no, now. Of all the universes, of all the multiple universes, who is the controller? Krishna is what he's saying in the Bhagavad Gita. But what's the best part is the last one. When he says, Surudam. So I'm not like that one dictator, Hitler kind of a thing. I'm the controller, I'm the boss, Krishna is saying. No, not like that. He's saying, but I'm friend, I'm the supreme benefactor, Suruda. Suruda, you all know, whoever knows a bit of Sanskrit, yes, Suruda means friend. And that's not just an ordinary friend. A friend who's really interested in your welfare, your benefactor. So it's a Surudam Survabhutana. If anybody understands this, then that person is going to become peaceful. Think about this verse. Please introspect. That's the one verse we're all looking for peace, right? All of these sessions we've been thinking, okay, happiness, peace, all this we've been talking about. And this is what it is. Here is the formula. Yeah. And it's not so difficult to accept this, because you look at it, you look at all the resources that we have, including our own intelligence. Everything is coming from Krishna. Correct? And it's in all so beautifully, this pearl that's there. Who put it there? Yes? Who can put it there? And who planted a tree in the dense forest somewhere? Who planted a tree in some mountain somewhere? Yes? We know, we can quite accept and understand that there is someone. And so nice if we can actually acknowledge that it's Krishna who is providing us with all of these basic aspects of life. And Krishna himself, he says this. He tells that I am Mayadhakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivardate. It says Mayadhakshena prakritihi. Under my supervision. It's not nature is working independently. Krishna says it's under my supervision, Adhyaksha. I am the Adhyaksha. Yeah, Prakriti. Suyate Sacharacharam. It's working so perfectly. Yes, the entire world is working based on this material nature which is under my supervision. So now most often I've heard people appreciate nature a lot. Yes, they love nature. All of us do. It says, wow. And then even when there is a tsunami or an earthquake, what do we say? Look at the fury of Mother Nature. Again, we are in awe of Mother Nature. But little do we remember who is behind this Mother Nature. Because we attribute this is God. Yes, nature is equivalent to God. Yes, it's equivalent in the sense that it's all God's energy. Definitely. It's Krishna's energy. Right? So, is Krishna something apart from that energy, or is it just that energy? That's the question that should come to our mind. Most of us, when we say, about God, when we talk about God, it's only this all-powerful energy that comes to our mind. Correct? Which is very, very natural. But what do the scriptures say? That is he a person or is he just an energy? What is it? What do the Shastras, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, what do they say about it? So let's hear what Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks about God very beautifully, not in conflict with what we understand. That no, it's not like black or white. Yeah? It's something which we should understand, that this may be incomplete, some more incomplete, okay, then finally complete. So the understanding of God may be like this, little more, but what's complete? How do we understand God in all his features? That's what Srimad Bhagavatam is going to tell us. It says, Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Very beautiful verse which is telling us three aspects of God: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan. And we have heard of all these three words when we address God. So, how do we understand this as explained here? Krishna can be viewed as Brahman, which is like light, energy, or Paramatma, who is in everybody's heart, or Bhagavan as Krishna. All the time, there's a very funny incident. A German, I think he was an anthropologist, German anthropologist. He said that I think I accept your God Krishna, he must be the supreme God. And everybody's like, why you're making this statement? German anthropologist. He was a German philosopher, anthropologist. And he said, why? Because all other gods, they seem to be busy, either fighting, killing demons, this, that, they're doing something. But this, your God, he seems to be always playing the flute. Yes, having a good time, dance and sing. So he seems to be, the boss out here. A very simple, yet, it feels common sense, but not so obvious to many of us, right? That's Bhagavan. So we have three aspects to the Supreme Lord, and how do we understand this is like this. What do you see from here? What do you think this is? In this picture, what do you see? What are they? Mountains from far? Valley, mountains. Now closer, you can see, what more can you see there? Trees you can see, yes. From far it was looking like just sheets of green, right? Mountains we understood, but like they were just green mountains. But when you come closer, you can see, oh, it's green. So many trees are there. And then when you go closer, what do you see? There is some habitation there. Yes, people are living around these mountains. Now, why are we telling this? We are telling this to understand how we can even perceive Krishna in these three levels. From far, he's just light. He's just some energy, some power. And so a lot of us, we want to just focus on that light, that energy. We want to meditate. Yes, but when you go a little closer, you know that, oh well, I can see God in every being. Yes, Krishna is situated in everybody's heart. Krishna himself says that, and we'll see that verse today. So we know that, okay, I think looks like it's from closer, it's looking different. And then when you come very, very close, that's when you know, oh, why does Krishna wear a peacock feather? Yes, why does he steal butter? Yeah, what is he fooling around like this with all his friends in Vrindavan? That's going very, very close. Very often we stop at one level, right? We are comfortable thinking of God as one light. How many of us feel very comfortable thinking of God as one light? An energy. Nobody? Yeah. Honestly, we feel that, okay, God is one energy somewhere, superpower. Yeah, very often we hear people say there's one superpower that controls you. But then when you go closer, that's when you understand that everybody is working under some, this superpower. Looks like God is working through them. And that's when you recognize the working of Paramatma in everybody's heart. And it's only when you associate with devotees of Krishna. Yeah, with bhaktas, that you understand that Acha, Krishna also plays with his friends. He likes to carry them on his shoulders. He plays holy. He does all this. That's when you go very, very close to Krishna. Right? So, what we understand is none of this is false. All of it is right. Yes? But you can't stop at imagining God as one light. That's incomplete. And in fact, it's not fair. It's not very nice. Imagine Krishna is there, yes, and you kind of deny that and say that no, it's nice to think of you as light. That's enough, Krishna. Yes. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he himself says this. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ikantikasya cha. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. He says, this light that you can think of, energy, I am the basis of that. That's definitely, God, because that's eternal, that's imperishable, it's so effulgent. It's nice to think of God as some energy. But also to remember that Krishna is saying this verse that I am the basis of that energy. Then what does he say? Even in the Brahma Samhita, there is this verse which very clearly talks about these different aspects to Krishna. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvashesha vasudhadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So this is a beautiful verse that Lord Brahma is actually saying. He says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. Maybe difficult to comprehend. Yes, it is a little difficult to comprehend, but what we can break up in this verse is only this much, that Brahma is worshipping Govinda. And Govinda is the name of Krishna. It can't be the name of one energy, one light. And very clearly he says, Krishna's effulgence is the source of that Brahman, that energy. Right? And Brahma is offering his pranam to this Krishna. Any questions here? Anything that you want to say before I move on? Because today we are doing a very bang on, head on collision with Krishna. Yes? Many gods or one God? Yeah, we always have heard in India especially, we know that there are so many gods. And why ISKCON wale kya Krishna Krishna karte rehte? I've heard this so many times. Yes, ISKCON wale Krishna Krishna kyun karte rehte? It's not like that. So let's understand this very nicely, and we'll understand this deeper, in our later discussions also, if at all you want to pursue this path. But one has to be very clear that what's the definition of God? What's the definition of God? What do you think is the definition? How will you define God? Anybody? Okay, controller and the creator, she says. Supreme personality. Okay, what else? Superpower. Is great. Guides. He guides. Omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. Thank you. This is the definition of God. Anybody else? Okay. So all of this put together means what? He is the source of everything. That's how you will define God? Is the source of everything? If there is anybody who is the source of God, then he is not God. Then that person will be God. Simple? Yes? That Krishna or God is supposed to be the source of everything, right? And for this simple reason, you cannot have multiple sources as gods. Yeah, you can't have multiple gods because you cannot have multiple sources. Then it completely contradicts the definition of God. Correct? In that sense, then, how do we understand so many other devatas that we worship? They're highly worshipable. So how do we understand if there is one God or there are many gods? And for this, we will completely base our discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna says here, let's repeat, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanancha वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृत्वेदविदेव चाहम्. So nicely Krishna is saying here. Okay, this is Bhagavan Uvacha in Bhagavad Gita, which is Krishna speaking. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of Vedas. Krishna is making this bold statement. Now we can question him, "Arey, itna ghamandi kyun hai?" Yes, why is he so arrogant and going on about himself? It's as good as asking, you go to your workplace, and it's the first day of your workplace, and you somehow bump into your boss, and you ask the boss, I want to meet the CEO today. And the boss, with great humility, he says, I am the peon. I am not the CEO here. Does it make any sense? Yes. Somebody will say, why are you talking nonsense? You are the CEO. So if he says, I am the CEO or I am the boss here, is it being arrogant? It's a fact. And that's precisely what Krishna is telling here. Yes? Krishna is just saying, I am situated in everyone's heart. From me comes everything, including our own remembrance, our forgetfulness, our intelligence. Everything is coming from Krishna. Is it from all the Vedas what is to be known? I am to be known. Vedaishcha sarvai ahameva vedyo. Is there any problem in the translation also? No. Vedaishcha sarvai ahameva vedyo. I am to be known. Vedanta kritveda videva chaham. I am the compiler of Vedas. Everything is me. Krishna is openly making this statement. So why should we have the confusion? But do other devatas agree to this? Yes? Let's see. And this is Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, as we know. Mostly what picture have we seen of Brahma? Old man, no? With beard and all that. It's not like that. In the spiritual world, nobody gets old. They're all nice and young. So here we have a very nice looking Brahma, but with 4 faces. Yes? So it's a little kind of funny. This scene that you can see here is after Brahma. Probably some of you know this story. Brahma saw this little Krishna in Vrindavan playing around with his friends, and his friends are making fun of him. They're making him ride on his shoulders. All they're doing, and Brahma sees this. He says, "What is this? Is this God? This can't be God." And then what does he see? He sees Krishna is eating with his left hand. He says, "Shh, left hand." Brahma, obviously he wants everything perfect. Like your mother would have told you, good habits. So Brahma is giving good habits to the whole world. Yes. And he's seeing here Krishna eating with his left hand. And he says, what is this going on? This can't be. So he decides to play a prank. He says, Abhi, patata. Who is powerful? So he goes, and what does he do? He steals all of Krishna's friends and all of Krishna's cows. He steals them off. He says, now let me see what he can do. Actually, it begins with they're all looking for the calves, and then Krishna tells his friends, "You wait here. I'll go and look. I think they've gone deep into the forest. I'll bring them back." And he goes, and all the friends disappear. And then calves also he cannot see. So Brahma has stolen all of them. He has stolen Krishna's friends and he has stolen Krishna's cows. And Krishna says, "Oh, Brahma is testing me." He says, "Okay, no problem." And suddenly what happens? From him come all of his friends. And Brahma, he puts all of them in his place and he comes back to check. Ab kya maza aa raha hai? Let me see what Krishna is doing. And kya hua? He comes back and he is himself surprised. He thought Krishna will be surprised and shocked, and he comes back and he's shocked. He says, "What? I just put them there. And they're all here? How is it possible?" He gets totally bewildered. He's not sure what happened. He tries, and the distance between the spiritual world and Krishna is here on planet Earth. That's a little bit of technical stuff that comes in, and Brahma doesn't know. He goes back there, sees everybody's there, everybody's here also. That's when he understands that I've done something very, very wrong. So he comes. He says, "I must go and apologize. Say sorry." "Nahi Baba, you are Krishna, you are God." So he comes back. And when he comes back, Krishna is still having in his hand little curd rice with pickle. Because they were all eating, when this happened. So he still has that curd rice with pickle in his hand. All of you like, no? Curd rice with pickle. So he also doesn't want to give it up. He still has it in his hand. And Brahma sees this. Now he says, "Abhi wo nahi dekhna chahiye. I have to say sorry now. Yeah, left hand, right hand, whatever you want, you do." Yes, that's none of my business. You're somebody even more greater. So he comes, and it's so beautifully described that when Krishna sees Brahma, this little boy, cowherd boy, he's a small boy, and this Brahma starts offering big, big prayers in Sanskrit. And this cowherd boy is eating his curd rice and pickle. And he looks at Brahma and he says, "Char faces." And all faces are uttering some mantras and all that. And he actually begins to laugh. I says, what's he doing? But Brahma knows now what he has done. Yes, he's trying to give his obeisances. And when he gives, his pranam, one of his face is up, always. One head is down, one head is up. And then Brahma says, no, this head should go down. And then another head is up. Seeing all this, Krishna is actually laughing. It's very sweet. But what is Brahma offering? What does he say? He says, "Ishvara Paramah Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam." This is what he says. So beautifully he says, Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is a supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin. And he is the prime cause of all causes. This is what Lord Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, is declaring. What about Lord Shiva? I love Lord Shiva. Many of us do, right? Lord Shiva is so worshipable. It's called Ashutosha, which means what? He's quickly pleased, very easily pleased. All you have to do is, go and do this. And Shiva says, okay. He's so kind. He also gets angry very easily. But he's also pleased very easily. And this Lord Shiva, we always see him. He's in meditation. Yes? What is he meditating on? There we have in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a part on Rudra Gita. We have a very beautiful part on Rudra Gita, where Lord Shiva is glorifying Lord Krishna. And he says here, "Namaste Ashisham Isha Manave Karanatmane Namo Dharmaya Bruhate Krishnaya Kuntamedase Purushaya Puranaya Sankhya Yogeshwaraya Cha." Very clearly, he's addressing Lord Krishna. He says, "Krishnaya, my dear Lord, you're the topmost of all bestowers of all benediction, the oldest and supreme enjoyer among all enjoyers. You're the master of all the world's metaphysical philosophy. For you are the supreme cause of all causes, Lord Krishna. You're the greatest of all religious principles, the supreme mind, and you have a brain which is never checked by any condition. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you. There we have Lord Shiva. And in fact, Lord Shiva, we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he is giving one big class, like lecture, to some of the people who have gathered there, who are trying to meditate, find out more about God. And Lord Shiva, he comes there and he begins to speak to them. Very nicely, he starts explaining to them, and that's Rudra Gita, where he talks everything about Krishna. So we've heard from Brahma, we've heard from Shiva, but why is it? Why is it that Krishna is so attractive? Yes, what is it about Krishna that's so attractive? Is it because, I like him, or Srila Prabhupada likes Krishna and therefore he's attractive and therefore he spoke about Krishna? Is it that? Or let's look at it very, very objectively. This is one of my favorite verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Please repeat after me. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya Mai sarvam idam protam Sutre manigana iva. Let's look at Krishna. He's saying, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. We have a pearl necklace. Krishna is saying that I'm that thread. I'm that thread in which all these pearls are very nicely, they're hanging, they're being supported. Now, how is this verse? Just think about it for a while. This pearl necklace, what is it saying? It gives so much philosophy. Every pearl is important. In a pearl necklace, even if one pearl is broken or turns black, the entire necklace is gone. Yes, each and every one of us have a role to play in this creation. And who is holding us? Krishna. That thread is holding us. That thread cut and all of us gone. But is that thread visible? No. The thread is not visible to any of us. Right? And the thread is going through each one of the pearls. Does it say, okay, I'll skip one pearl? No. Such a beautiful verse this is, where Krishna is showing that he is not just one dictator. What meaning he holds to our lives. Yes, he's like that support, like that thread in the pearl necklace, which is holding each one of us, helping us, each one of us shine in our own glory. Yes, yet without him we are meaningless. Right? That's Krishna. And what makes him so extraordinary is all of us know Putana. Have you heard of Putana? She was a witch, okay, and she came to kill Krishna, because you all know basic story where Kamsa, Krishna's own mama, he wanted to kill Krishna, yes, and he kept sending demon after demon to kill Krishna. And the first demon that he sent was the worst demon actually. He thought that the first attack be the strongest attack, and that was Putana, who was a child-eating demon. Imagine, there are all kinds of wicked people, but all of us know that the most wicked are those who can harm children. Yes, who can, either abuse children or harm them. We know child trafficking and all this. We feel they're so sick, isn't it? These kind of people are so sick. And Putana was one such demon. She used to eat babies. And she used to love drinking their blood. This is what is described about her. What kind of a witch she must have been. And this demon, she came to kill Krishna. She applied some poison on her breasts. Yes? And she said, I will feed Krishna milk. And what did Krishna do? This verse is so beautifully telling us that Krishna, he drank Putana's milk and he sucked out her life. We all know this. Putana died. But, for a moment, for a fraction of a second, Putana thought, you know, I am going to feed Krishna milk. So I am his mother. She thought of killing Krishna in this way. And that was enough for Krishna to feel that, oh, she has come as a mother. So I will definitely have to finish her because this body is not nice for her. So I'll give her a better body. And what does he do? He makes her his nurse in the spiritual world. That's what Putana becomes. That's what the scriptures say. So nice. Can you imagine? She came to kill. And he says, take this body, no? And you can become a mother. You become a nurse. That's Krishna. Have you ever come across anybody who's so kind? Imagine, somebody who is plotting like this against you. What will you do? Yes, somebody plots a little thing against you, and you feel that, acha, I don't even want to see that person's face. Yes, let everything happen to that person, whatever bad things. Yes, you are just wishing and wishing. And here Krishna, he says that, okay, chal. She came, but for a second she thought she can be my mother. So let me promote her to my mother. That's Krishna. And here, that was Putana. And here we have the story of a very exalted devotee, who was also a powerful king. His name was Ambrish. And Ambrish was such a powerful and such a nice devotee of the Lord. I used to teach this poem to small children using Ambrish Maharaj's example. So Ambrish was a king like this. Say, I use my eyes to see the Lord, see the Lord, see the Lord. I use my ears to hear about Krishna, hear about Krishna, hear about Krishna. I use my feet to walk to the temple, walk to the temple, walk to the temple. I use my hands to clean the temple, clean the temple, clean the temple. I used to teach this rhyme to young children. And this rhyme is talking about King Ambrish. He used to use everything for Krishna. All his body parts, all his senses, everything he would engage in the service of Krishna. Of course, he was a great ruler as well. It's not that he was not doing his duty. And this Ambrish Maharaj, once he was fasting and it was time to break his fast. Like we all fast on some days. Mostly we, devotees fast on Ekadashis. So he was fasting and then it was time to break his fast. At that time, a sage, and we probably know Durvasa, the angry sage, yes, he comes there, short-tempered. And King Ambrish is very happy. He says, please come, join me in, lunch. We'll have lunch together. So Durvasa says, yeah, I'm coming. I will go and take bath in river and all that, do the morning sandhya, and I'll come. So Ambrish Maharaj says, please come, I'm waiting. And at that time, there is a fast breaking time. I don't know how many of you all know this, but when you fast, then the next day you're supposed to break your fast, but also break your fast in a certain time period. Okay? That's how it is advised. So Ambrish Maharaj realized that, the fast breaking time is getting over. I have to break my fast, but I cannot break my fast till Durvasa Muni comes. I know I've invited him for lunch. I must first feed him, serve him, and then eat. He was wondering what to do. So at that time, some of the priests there, they advised him, don't worry, you know what you do? You just take some Charanamrit, you put some water, Charanamrit, that is called as Tirtha, Charanamrit, and you break your fast, it's okay. So Ambrish Maharaj says, okay, that's a good idea, and he does that. And Durvasa comes back. And he comes back and looks at Ambrish and says, you've broken your fast. He says, I took Charanamrit. And Durvasa is so angry. He says, you broke your fast without me. I am your guest. How dare you do it? And he gets so furious. He's so angry that he plucks a strand of his hair and a demon comes out of it. And throughout this, what is King Ambrish doing? He didn't take his sword out. He says, Acha, tum demon mein sword and I'll call my army. He doesn't do any of that. What does he do? He's amazingly exemplary, an example for us. What is it? He just remembers Krishna. He just remembers Krishna. This is a very powerful lesson for us. Very powerful lesson for us. When we are in anxiety, when somebody is actually, in a mood to attack us in any which way, orally or physically, whatever, can we do this? Just remember Krishna at that moment. Amrish Maharaj does that. And the moment he does that, Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra comes to protect him. It's so amazing. These stories are so beautiful, and so beautiful that you feel that this is all imagination. Yes, we have to understand that the stories in the scriptures, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, some of them are allegorical, but many of them, in fact, everything is historical, is true. But what's most important is, what's the essence? Sar, what is the essence? It's taking us closer to Krishna, that's it. That's the essence. Helping us introspect, that's the essence. Helping us deal with the challenges in our life and not get, defeated by them. And so what did Amrish Maharaj do? He just kept praying, and the Sudarshan Chakra followed Durvasa Muni. He killed that demon in one like this. And then Durvasa started running away because this Sudarshan Chakra started chasing the sage. And the sage Durvasa is running helter-skelter from one place to another. He has a lot of power. So he can go from planet to planet. He is going, he's just running. And the Sudarshan Chakra would not stop chasing him. And he goes to Brahma and he says, help. Brahma says, not me. Go away from here. He goes to Shiva and says, help. He says, not me too. Don't come here. And then he goes to Vishnu. He says, you help because it's your Sudarshan Chakra. So you can help, I'm sure. Please help me. I'm taking shelter at your feet. And what does Lord Vishnu say? It's very beautiful. Listen to what Vishnu says. He says, anybody who comes to me, definitely I have to help. Right? My heart melts when anybody asks me for help. But what to do, Durvasa? My heart is not with me, it's with my devotees. So sweet. Yes. He says, my heart melts, definitely. But my heart is not here now, it's with my devotee, Ambarisha. So you will have to go to him. Go back to him and ask for forgiveness. And so, Durvasa goes back to Ambarisha. And Ambarish Maharaj, he says, don't do that. Don't ask me for forgiveness. But this verse here, so beautifully, here Vishnu is talking to that Brahmana. Yeah, who? Durvasa. He says, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the course of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. Just see this. Such a beautiful statement he is making. Yes, it's Krishna, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. He says, Aham Bhakta Paradhina. I am in control of my devotees, Bhakta Paradhina. I am Asvatantra, I am not independent. Don't think. And here we thought that, Krishna, Vishnu, all energy, power, this, that. He says, no. My devotee is even greater. Right? So, we also know, of course, of Krishna's protection. What are we discussing? We are discussing why is Krishna so attractive. Yes, one we saw, Putana. What did he do? He just saw the intention. He just saw that, he didn't see the intention. He saw her action of becoming a mother and he said, yeah, mother. Yes. And then we saw Ambrish. What did he do again? He says, no, I am with my devotee. He didn't let go of devotee. Yes. And now we know that any time in trouble, what does Krishna, he has immediately responded. Be it the elephant king Gajendra or Mother Draupadi. Yes. In both cases, we know that they just had to call out Krishna's names. And Krishna was right there. He loves us unconditionally. And what is that unconditional love? It doesn't mean that it's okay whatever I do. No, he doesn't like that, what action you do, but he likes you. He loves you. Let's hear this. Unconditional love doesn't mean that whatever we do is loved. It means that whatever we do, we are loved. Not that I'll smoke a little, it's okay. Whatever I'll do. That's not loved. You are still loved. That's what it means, right? Not the action. So Krishna empowers us. And therefore, he's so attractive. And that's the practical tip that we can learn from Krishna, who is a good leader, the one who is a representative of God, one who sees good in the team members, just as Krishna saw in Putana, one who serves, or we skip that, four Kumaras, one who serves rather than being arrogant, and the one who's always with us in times of trouble. We saw Gajendra and Draupadi, and he's always with us, doesn't ditch us at any time, just as he didn't. He told Durvasa Muni that you have to go and approach my devotee, not me, right? That's what it is. So then, here we are. We need to learn how to worship that Supreme Lord. He is so naturally attractive, but we should know how to worship Him. But before we do that, which we know is chanting Krishna's names, we have a little story. Yes? Little story, and I promised a story from which is related to Holi. I hope you all celebrated Holi last week. So this story is back to Vrindavan when Krishna and his friends, they were all excited about Holi. They had planned so much, but on the day of Holi, Krishna doesn't want to play with colors. Somehow or the other, he thinks that no, I don't want to play with colors this time. So he tells his mother that if my friends come, don't tell I'm at home. Tell them I've gone out somewhere. This little Krishna, okay, just tell Maya, please don't tell, okay, I'm at home, don't tell I'm there. And very soon, all of Krishna's friends, they come, yes, and they start calling for him. He says, hey Kana, come. Come to play Holi. Where are you hiding? Come, we brought so many colors with us today. Today we are going to fully, immerse you with colors. And we have lots of water also filled up there. All this they are planning, laughing. And Krishna is not coming out. He says, hey Gopal, come. Gopal's not coming. And then Gopal tells his mother, go tell, I'm not there. So Yashoda Mai goes to the balcony, that she goes outside and she says, Kanha is not there at home. With great difficulty, she says, Kanha is not there at home. All the friends, they look at each other. Kanha is not there at home? Where would he go? Says, you think Mother Yashoda is telling the truth? And they tell Madhumangal, his friend. He's a fat friend. He loves to eat. He loves to eat sweets. So this fat friend Madhumangal is there and everybody says, hey Madhu, you go and check if Kana is there inside. Go check. He says, Mother Yashoda has told. He says, no, go check. He says, okay. And he goes. And he goes looking for Gopal. He says, Krishna, Gopal, Kanha. He's looking for him everywhere. And then suddenly he sees some movement under the bed. He says, hey Gopal, there you are. Why are you hiding? Why can't you come and play with us? Gopal says, hey Madhu, I don't want to play with colors today. I want to play afterwards. I want to go there, here. Something. Madhu says, everybody is waiting for you. He says, you go tell now that I'm not there. Hey, how can I tell that? Plate of laddus, you'll tell? He says, I'll give you lots of laddus. Mother Yashoda has made so many laddus today for the festival. Laddus? He smiles. Yes? And then Kana says, you wait here. And he goes, brings a plate full of laddus, and Madhumangal is all smiles. He says, so many laddus. And he says, he starts very nicely, happily eating. And Gopal says, okay, now go tell them I'm not there, otherwise they will come. Okay. And he puts some, inside in his dhoti, he puts, and he goes out. And he's still wiping, his mouth. And all the friends say, hey, Madhu, what happened? I searched everywhere. And he smiles. And I ate laddus. Kanha? He said, he's not there. He says, what? He says he's not there, and everybody rushes right inside Krishna's house with colors and water and Pushkarni and everything. And they says, hey Kana, come right outside. They drag him out, and all this is for more fun. Yes, Krishna knows that his friends are not going to leave him at any cost. Right? They drag him out and they dump him with colors, and Krishna is of course more than happy to play, and he's already prepared his own bucket of colors. Yes, and they have a great Holi. So that's what happens when you see closer into Krishna's life. You peep in closer into Krishna's life, and you know that it's not just the Brahman, it's not the Paramatma alone, which is telling us, who's telling us what to do, what not to do. As the guide, like Mataji said, that's Paramatma. But he's also Bhagavan. Yes, he's the source of all opulence, all enjoyment. Yes, all fun. It's not that God doesn't have any fun, right? So he is the source of all happiness. And therefore, when we are connected with that source, we become happy. Simple. The more we talk about him, the more we hear about him, the more we are connected to him, we feel happy. The farther away we are from him, we are sad. Yes, and then we are full of our own deadlines and whatnot. Yes, and then we are in a bad shape in this material world. Therefore, to worship Krishna, we know that in this particular age it is Hari Kirtanat. Yes, we know that whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, now in Kali Yuga can be obtained simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is exactly the verse which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krite yadhyayato Vishnum Tretayam yachato makhaihi Dwapare paricharyayam kalau tat Hari Kirtanat. Yes, Hari Kirtana, which is what we are doing by chanting Krishna's names. So now let's remember Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Iti Shodashakam Nam Kali Kalmashanashanam. Natah parataropayah sarva vedeshu drishyate. There is no other solution apart from chanting the Hare Krishna Mantra. If you have any questions, you may please ask. And I'm seeing this fantastic table that's being arranged. Thank you very much, all of you, for making such wonderful preparations for Krishna. And this is practical, right? How do we serve Krishna? How do we please Krishna? By cooking for him, cooking for all the devotees gathered here. Okay, so we'll start chanting, and after chanting we'll have a few announcements to make. Of course, the one announcement is that we are all planning for a trip outside, an excursion. So how many of you all want to join? It's going to be a lot of fun with a lot of kirtan and games, and also prasad, big feast, all that. We'll go to a nice place. So whoever wants to, the details of course Varsha Mataji will announce. Apart from that, we are nearing towards the end of this Gita course, as you all know, right? This is the 8th and we have one more week, and after that it's not like I'm lost. Now I don't know what to do. Right? I'm over 9 session Bhagwan ke saath tha, uske baad khatam. Right? It should not happen that way. We would like you all to be connected all your lives. How can we practically bring Krishna into our day-to-day lives? For that, we have different smaller groups, personal interaction, all that, closer to homes, closer to your own homes. All that again also Varsha Mataji will announce. Does anybody have a question before we start chanting? Please ask. If you have any question, any doubts, so far also, not just today's session, any doubts that you have about whatever you have heard or anything that comes to your mind, please ask. If you also have some realization, something to share, please share. Please, I'll feel very nice, and I'm sure others will also feel encouraged if you have something to share about how you liked these sessions, how you felt connected to Krishna, how you saw the volunteers so selflessly serving. Anything you would like to share, please share.
Where are these stories from?
These stories are from different scriptures. Some of them are from Srimad Bhagavatam, some of them are from other scriptures, which I hear quite regularly, quite often. So I extract these stories from there. Yeah, most of them are from Srimad Bhagavatam based on that. Any other comments or questions?
In Hinduism, we believe that there is one God, Supreme God, but we have different gods. We pray to God, but all are same. Why does this? Why do we worship God?
Right.
What is the reason?
Thank you for asking this very important question, and I'm surprised why this question didn't come up. And thank you. So it's right that we have different gods, like we just saw so many Devi Devtas, and then there is a definition of one supreme Lord. Why are there so many gods? So the understanding is very simple, as presented in the Bhagavad Gita itself. All of these Devi Devtas are extremely powerful living entities who are in charge of different areas. Right? So, for example, you would have Indra in charge of rains. Right? You would have Mother Lakshmi, and even, assistant to her is Kubera, who are charge of wealth, finance department. Right? Then you would have the defense department under Kartikeya, right? Then you would have the intellectual department under Mother Saraswati, and parallelly Lord Ganesha, who is totally into knowledge, spreading of all this. So they are all assigned with different responsibilities, right? And they're taking their duty very, very seriously. Why? Because they're doing it as a service to the Supreme Lord. And therefore, we have this culture of respect for all of them. In the Vedic culture, it's not just what to speak of these powerful living entities. We respect even an ant. Why? Because we understand that there is perhaps another living entity where there's Krishna situated in the heart of the ant. How many times do we think about it that way? Yes, only when we are told. Otherwise, while cleaning the kitchen, the ants go right into the sink. Yes, without much thought also. But the Vedic culture, it kind of nudges us to think that no, that creature, the cockroach with behind who you ran with a broom probably, or slippers, I don't know. We don't even think. But the Vedic culture says no. Every living entity has life, yes, also Krishna, and they are all there in the cycle, yes, in the cycle of evolution. They are there, they're present, they're very much important. So what to speak of the Devi Devtas? They're extremely powerful, so we need to show them our respect, but clearly understand that all their power is because of the Supreme, and they will be very happy when you worship the Supreme Lord. That's so important. Right? So it's not like they get angry and they say, mere ko nahi, tu usko. Not like that. It's not like that, right? So Lord Ganesha, Lord Shiva, they are the ones who are glorifying. And then they're very happy when you worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the right mood, the right spirit. Right? Any other questions? Yes.
Is it that the birth and rebirth continues, or is there something? And what is moksha? Is moksha the end of birth, rebirth? And also, how is my karma different from a dog? So, in the cycle of birth, rebirth, as a soul grows,
Right.
So maybe this birth, if I do good karma, next month maybe I'll be a better human being, or maybe have better life. But what about a dog where the karmas are not defined? They don't have the intellect to have another birth as something,
Right.
a greater
Right.
soul.
Right.
So how it is defined and how do I attain moksha?
Okay. So two parts, two questions you had. One is about moksha. She asked a very important question, that how is this birth and death never ending, or is there something called end, and is that moksha, and how do we understand that? So good. Again, today we understood God in three features, isn't it? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So when people are very attached to only this energy Brahman kind of a concept, that's when they may meditate upon it so much so that they can merge into that effulgence, they can merge into that Brahman, and that's for them is as good as, okay, now no more miseries, no more birth, no more death. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, this is not the end. When will the end come? Real end, which what you're saying about no more births, no more deaths, is only when we are able to go to Krishna. And Krishna says this himself in the Bhagavad Gita. Mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Very clearly. Does this statement make sense? Mam upetya tu kaunteya says, but Arjuna, after coming to me, there is no more birth. Punarjanmana vidyate. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino Arjuna. He says, but you may go to the highest planet, but come back. But when you come to me, mamupetya punarjanmana vidyate. So there is a possibility of breaking this cycle. And how? How do we do that? By all the time engaging ourselves and remembering about Krishna. Krishna himself again says this in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam maivaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Very nicely he says, whatever state of mind you are thinking, at the time of your death, that is what you will, there is where you will go, that is your destination, Arjuna. So, how is it possible then to think of Krishna at the time of death unless we practice thinking of him all our lives? It's not possible. Right? We can't say that chale marte samay. Not possible. Because while dying, again, a devotee, Kulashekar Alvar, he says so beautifully, he says that, Prana prayana samaye kafavata pittair kantavarodhanam smaranam kutaste. He says, while I'm going to die, I'm going to be choked with all this mucus and bile and all that. Yes, sometimes when we are sick, we can experience that it's not possible to focus on anything when we are sick. How is it possible to remember you at the time of death? Oh Krishna, he's praying. It's been so difficult. So Krishna says, no problem. If you do it all your life, then I will give you the memory. We read that just now, right? Matta smriti jnanam apohanancha, Krishna is giving. So Krishna will give us the memory. So that's the first way to understand about moksha, about liberation. Yeah, we endeavor to go to Krishna. But the other one, what you are talking about, animals, yes, all of us are in an evolutionary cycle as human beings, and therefore the birth or the body of a human being is supposed to be very special. Because it's only in the body of a human being that you can actually promote yourself and think about no life, no birth, no death, all that. Yes? But for animals, they are in a very natural, fixed cycle. So after this. So it is given very clearly as to how all these different species of life, what is their next birth. So first, insects, and then birds, and maybe aquatics, and this, that. I don't know the order very clearly, but this is the order. There is an order. That they have to go through this natural cycle. They don't have any karma. So if they catch an animal and eat, it's not karma for them. So if you see your cat, catch a mouse, you will say, hey, don't do that. Usko kuch nahi hone wala hai. Yeah, she is not going to be trapped in hell for killing that mouse. that you are. So for human beings, as human being, we have the power to think and introspect. So we are in a different. That's why human life, like I said, is very precious. Otherwise, if we don't do this, if we don't question, then we are as good as animals. आहार निद्रा भयमैथुनं च सामान्यमेतत् पशुभिर्नराणां धर्मो हि तेषाम् अधिको विशेषो धर्मेण हीनः पशुभिः समानः. Ahara nidra bhayamaithuna. Four things. These are common between animals and human beings. But what's the speciality? Dharmo hi tesham. Dharma is different. Dharma, what is dharma? Just to be able to think what's right, what's wrong, what's right, what's wrong. Take responsibility. And that will help us come out of that cycle. Does that answer? Anybody else has a question? Okay. So should we start chanting? So you're going to tell them about japa? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for bringing a lot of yoga tables and field. Yeah. So now we are going to do chanting. Anyone coming for the first time? But you know how to chant? Yeah. Now we're going to start our chanting. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara.
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,